Hey, what's up, world? It's me, your girl, Angela. Making sure you get your ticket for the next event. Catch your second win. That's right. Catch your second win. You do not want to miss this. This is going to be the event of the year. See you at True by Hilton in Fort Lauderdale. We have a guest speaker, Joan Wrightgood, a coach, a mentor, an entrepreneur. You want to meet her, as well as the awesome Apostle Sheila O'Brien. She's going to help you renew your mind. And we have one of the most powerful intercessor, Mary Lewis. Come out, you guys. You do not want to miss it. Again, we're going to be at True by Hilton in Fort Lauderdale. Can't wait to see you. Remember, in everything you do, always be true to you. Hey, what's up, world? It's me, your girl, Angela, with the Be True to You Talk Show. We want to tell you thank you so very much for joining us tonight. We have a very special guest tonight. Not only do we have a guest, you guys, we have two guests. You know, this is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And so we're wearing our pink because we're in standing with supporting breast cancer awareness, letting you know that it's important to be scanned. It's important to get checked. It's important not to let your tatas go without being looked after. So we're going to have a guest that's going to talk to you about that today. And we have a co-host today, my sister, the one and only Apostle Sheila O'Brien. Hello, Apostle.
Hello, how are you? How is everyone?
All is well. I want to tell you thank you so very much for being the co-host the Be True Talk Show today. Not only that, we want to tell you thank you because it's because of you that we have this special guest, the world-renowned one and only. I'm bold and breastless, and breast cancer can't take my life. The one and only Shondia Sabari, and we're going to bring her on, but not before we let you see a little something about her. So here we go.
Four years ago, I scared the hell out of cancer, and it took both of my breasts and left. I'm thankful that it took my breasts and not my life. I didn't have any lumps, no symptoms, nothing to suggest that I had breast cancer. My focus was getting the cancer out of me so that I could live and just enjoy my life with my husband and my children. And I remember one night I got out of the shower and I put my hand over my breast and I just looked at myself and I was like, so if they were gone, I have everything else. There's really no difference, you know? There's no difference other than me not having any breasts. And I'm like, I still look beautiful. Having the cancer out of me, that had to happen. Getting more breasts, it didn't have to happen. There are people that are going to get diagnosed with cancer today. It's not fair that I don't try to do something to make somebody else have that same smile that I have. That would be selfish of me, and I just can't live like that. I got through it. I got over it. Now it's up to me to help somebody else. I wrote down my experience with breast cancer, and after that, Bold and Breastless was born. Bold and Breastless is a nonprofit organization geared to educate and inspire women, men, and children that have been affected by breast cancer. People reach out to me on social media or via email, and they just, ask, can you just tell me something to make me feel better or to help me get through this? I also travel and visit hospitals and hospice facilities and patients in their homes that I'm connected with. My joy is when people say, you've made a difference, or you don't know how much you've helped me. That right there is so rewarding. It's so rewarding.
Wow. That right there is amazing. You have taken what some people would use as a life sentence you have taken it, and not only did you beat it, you decided to make a difference for others. So again, thank you for being on the show. And before we dive into it, just tell the people a little bit about who you are.
For blessing me with this opportunity, blessing me with my testimony. And even though my husband is not right here in the room with me, he's still in the house. So I always have to thank God, who is the head of my life, and my husband, who is the head of my house. So I'm thankful for them. I'm thankful for Apostle Sheila O'Brien for connecting us. And I'm thankful for you, Miss Angela, for having me on the show, for everybody that helped you put this together, your husband for doing the technology portion, and for all your viewers. Thank you all so much for us having this discussion. Um, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, Brandon, go ahead.
Okay. So you want me to go ahead and start?
Just, I want you to just tell them your name and give them your website information, and we're going to dive in from there.
Okay, so my name is Shondia Sabari, Bold and Breastless. My website address is www.boldandbreastless.com.
That's that name, and that name is everything. Bold and breastless, because that's saying that, even though I don't have my breast, I still have my confidence. And as I read your story, and I hear you saying that it did not steal your confidence. And with that being said, you was 36 when you was diagnosed.
Mm-hmm.
So
36 years old.
tell us about that. Was you going to get a physical? Was you sick? How did that happen?
No, I was never sick. I just had cancer in my breast. I I was getting dressed one day, getting ready to go to the Dollar Tree, and something came to me. And because I believe in the Holy Spirit, I know it was God. But something said I needed to get a mammogram. And that next day, I had an appointment scheduled with my gynecologist for my annual exam. And I told her, I said, "You don't think I'm crazy?" I said, "Something said I need to get a mammogram." And prior to going in, um, the day before that, I examined my breasts and I didn't feel any lumps. When I got there and I told her, she examined my breast, didn't feel any lumps, put me in for a mammogram. The next week, I received a letter in the mail that they saw some calcifications, changes in tissue. My breasts were dense, and that I needed to come back for a diagnostic mammogram. That first mammogram was my screening mammogram. So I went back for my diagnostic mammogram, and the radiologist, he says, "I'm going to have to do a biopsy." He said, "I can't look at you and tell you that you don't have breast cancer. I'm going to have to do a biopsy." So they did the biopsy a few days later. And then there it was. I got diagnosed. I had two types of my right breast, DCIS and LCIS, and it was all stage 0. In my left breast, I had DCIS, and it was stages 0 and stage 1A. DCIS is ductal carcinoma in situ. LCIS is lobular carcinoma in situ. I did not have to do chemo. I did not have to do radiation because of early detection and because I listened to the Holy Spirit. It didn't just come to me and I just left it alone. I acted on it. I listened to the Holy Spirit. I'm so thankful that I did. And because I did, they were able to get the cancer out of me. And even though I had cancer in both breasts, I didn't have to get both breasts removed. I told my doctor that I wanted her to chop both of those little cancerous tits off me. and so, and then the type of breast cancer that I had was ER and PR positive. So I decided to do, which is estrogen and progesterone positive. So I decided that I wanted to do a hysterectomy, a complete hysterectomy with the oophorectomy. So 2 months after my bilateral mastectomy, I had a hysterectomy. So I don't have no breasts, I don't have no womb, but I have a whole lot of life.
Amen.
Oh, wow. That is amazing. First of all, to be able to hear the voice of God, to not have any issue, no hurting, no pain, no soreness, no lump, and to listen to the voice of God. And he warned you, and you heed to the warning. I tell people all the time, they say warning comes before destruction. And we learned in our church that sometimes the reason why we don't understand, because we didn't listen when the warning came, because the warning comes before the problem. So I wanted to understand that you being 36, you go in there and you find that you have cancer in both breasts. First of all, call me stupid, call me dumb. I didn't know it was more than one kind of cancer, breast cancer. I just was like breast cancer.
Mhm.
So did you know before that there was numerous type of breast cancer?
I didn't. And my nurse, when she initially called and told me that that confirmed that it was breast cancer, she said, "Well, if you're gonna have breast cancer, this is the type of breast cancer you want to have." And in my mind, I'm like, "Well, who in the hell want to have breast cancer?" No
Mhm.
disrespect, Apostle. I'm
Right.
sorry. I'm still
Absolutely.
climbing Jacob's ladder.
We good,
I'm
honey.
so, but because I was just trying to figure it out, like I don't know nobody who want to have breast cancer, but I understand it now
Mhm.
after doing my research. That the type of breast cancer that I had, it was not an aggressive form of cancer at all. So it was just the whole journey was just a blessed journey. Having cancer wasn't a blessing, but my journey in it all was nothing but a true blessing.
And yeah, I can tell that from your testimony. And when I went on your website, you see nothing but hope. But what I noticed about your story is that you turned that to a ministry. You wasn't about yourself. I'm sure you probably had that woe it's me sometime down the line, but it never showed up. And so how was you able to just girdle up your strength and turn your focus on helping others and not feel sorry for yourself?
You know, what you see is what you get. I've always been Shonda. I've always been Shonda, but I didn't always have cancer in my body. So the only thing changed was that cancer came in my body, cancer left. And I always, enjoy making people feel good because I've always felt good, even though I go through things in life like we all do. But my grandma stressed something that was so important. She would say, Jesus wept, but on the third day, he rose. So when you go through something in life, just think about 3 days, and just try to get over it and get through it. Because worrying, as she used to say, ain't gonna solve the problem anyway. You
Mhm.
have to turn it over to the good Lord. So I knew that. Well, let me tell you this. My aunt came to see me from Boston. And she said to me, this was shortly after I had my mastectomy. And she said, "You need to join a support group." I said, "No, ma'am, no, I don't." She said, "Why you don't?" I said, "I don't." I said, "Because if those ladies start crying, I'm going to feel so bad because I won't be able to help them." She said, "Yes, you can. You need to join it because you have a positive attitude and you being yourself, you can help them." And I thought about that and I was like, you know what? She's right. I'm looking at it thinking that, if they were crying or sad, I would feel helpless and it would bother me because, as my husband said, you can't save the world, because I would want to, try to save them. But I'm so thankful that I didn't join the support group, but I didn't join any support groups, but I started speaking to various support groups and just having different speaking engagements. And when I saw how I was able to inspire other women and even other men and kids too, all I could say was, "Thank you, God. Thank you so much for this opportunity."
Not only did you do that, most people I've noticed when they have breast cancer, they go to go and get a reconstructive surgery. They have the breast implants added, but you opt out of that. Is that something that you heard from the Holy Ghost, or you just didn't want anything? How did you make that decision?
Honey, let me just tell you something. Because in my mind, and I'm not cocky, I'm not arrogant, I'm confident and full of faith. But I wasn't about to put myself through no more than what I needed to put myself through. See, they had to get the cancer out of me for me to live and enjoy this life with my fine husband and my beautiful kids.
Mm-hmm.
So the most important thing for me was getting the cancer out of me. I wasn't going through no extra surgeries. And I even asked my surgical oncologist, I said, what are the risks? And she said, infections. And if there was ever a recurrence, it would be harder to detect, if I did the reconstruction. And not reconstruction isn't a bad idea. It's just it's for some people and it's not for some people. So I'm not discouraging anybody from making that decision if that's what they want to do, because we have to make the decision based off of how we feel and what we want to do. But when we talked about the risk, when we talked about the healing time and what could go wrong, I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to put myself through all of that for. Get the cancer out of me and let me live.
Yeah. Yeah. Apostle Sheila, do you have anything you want to say?
Yeah, thank you, first of all, for allowing me to co-host this segment with you. Shondia and I met a while ago, and I'm not going to get into that, but we actually met and not knowing that the both of us actually lived in Port St. Lucie. But I recently had to have a mammogram done, a diagnostic mammogram, because like her, I have dense breasts. And I have to get a mammogram done every 6 months. And so when I had a conversation with her and I was telling her what was going on, she told me about the different types of mammograms that when they, especially when you have dense breasts, like myself, and I believe both of my sisters
Yeah.
do as well, that there's a particular type of diagnostic testing that you should ask for. And like me, and I'm sure a whole lot of women out there that are not aware of what it is that they should be requesting from their doctor. So I want you, Shondia, if you don't mind, to tell us the name of those two testings so that the people could know that, especially when they find that they're in this position with this type of breast density, what to ask for. And with all the work that you've done in the community with breast cancer awareness, what is the ratio to the Caucasian woman, the African American woman, the other women of color that you find that breast cancer is more susceptible in?
To answer the last portion of your question, the numbers are always changing. And I'm not going to sit up here and lie and tell you I know the exact numbers, because I don't. And it varies. What I like to tell people is statistics are statistics, but your body. And I'm not saying anything against statistics, because we
Right.
need statistics, research, that's very important. But I don't have the exact numbers, and I don't want to, speculate or tell you something wrong. You know your body. You should know your family history, maternal and paternal side.
Mhm.
And as far as whether you have dense breast or not, whether there's a known family history or unknown family history, you should always request a 3D mammogram, not 2D, not a mammogram using analog technology. You should request a 3D mammogram. Always. That's the best type of mammogram that you can get, regardless if you were told you had dense breasts or not. And if you go to a facility and they don't offer 3D mammogram, run, Forrest, run.
Why is that? Why is it important to get a 3D over anything else?
Because with that one, it can detect better. It's the most up-to-date technology as far as, getting a mammogram. So it's very important to make sure that when you go have tests done, you also need to ask your doctors, the hospital that you go to, is your equipment or your machines, are they new? What about your MRI machine or your PET scan? Is it do you guys use digital technology? Find out how old the machines are, the brands, do your research on the brands. But you want to make sure that you're going someplace where they have the most up-to-date technology or updated technology.
I did notice, I did a little research, and they said since 2019, women of color are the number one. The women of color are the ones that's losing their life towards breast cancer more than any other race. And one of the reasons being is that we're the ones that don't go to the doctors. We don't go get checked. So can you just expound just how important it is for us to make sure that we make this a part of our yearly routine, if not 6 months?
And that is very important. And I could have, I guess, answered your question too, Apostle O'Brien, as far as if women, with Black women, the how they get diagnosed opposing to other women. I don't know the exact numbers, but now you are correct as far as that is true, as far as Black women getting diagnosed quicker rates and dying, because by the time they find out, a lot of times it's too late, either because they're uninsured, underinsured, or they're scared and they just don't want to go, or they sometimes don't make the best decisions. self-advocacy is so important. You know, I hear women all the time, they'll say, well, they say, well, who is they? You know, you got
I
to
say,
make up.
Go ahead and
it's
say it.
okay. Who the hell is they?
Oh, who in the hell is they? Okay, they say, well, they told me. Y'all keep on with that they. But you know, like my grandma used to say, you gotta use your common sense sometimes. And stop going to the doctors telling these people, oh, ain't nobody in my family had cancer. Because more than likely you lying and probably don't, not that you
You don't
purposely
know.
lying,
You don't even
but
know.
you
You're not
don't
even
know
aware.
because somebody could have lied in the family and not, or if you've asked, oh, did anybody have cancer? No. Or because they don't want to tell it because they're embarrassed. Or sometimes people just don't know. So don't ever say no, just say not that I know of. Because you can't really say that nobody has ever had, you know, a breast cancer or any kind of cancer diagnosis. So you, like I said, it's very important to know your family's history.
I know they tell us that once we find out that we have cancer,
They
we all
who? No, I'm just
people.
messing with you. I had to throw that in there.
Okay, so when they talk to doctors, they always say how important it is to stay away from sugar. Did you find that that made a difference? Did you have a habit in your, was sugar in your diet? Do you feel like because it wasn't something that you did a regular that it maybe help you with your slow process, or do you just feel like God just told you to go right in time?
I feel like because of the favor over my life, that God knew what he was doing and he knows what he's still doing. And I asked my surgical oncologist, I said, should I be on any particular diet? She said, you know what's good and what's not good. If you're not going to do good, just make sure it's, you know, you do everything in moderation is basically what she was saying. I know people who work out all the time, eat all the time, eat healthy all the time, but they still get diagnosed with breast cancer. So they might know what caused all this cancer. I don't know. I really don't know. Research is still being done. So we can take the precautions. We can, you know, sugar isn't good. A whole lot of sugar isn't good. Do I still use sugar? I do. But I do try to limit how much sugar, you know, that I use. You know, the only thing I can go back to is what my grandma used to say. Just use your common sense. Ask God to guide you and to lead you into making the right decisions. You know, I try to watch what I eat, but I'm not gonna sit up here and lie and tell y'all I don't eat no chitlins, I don't eat no pig feet. I eat whatever I want to eat when I want to eat it. And some days I make healthy choices, and some days I don't. But I pray, and when I know that I'm not making those healthy choices, then I'll. If I don't know, eat something sweet today. If I eat a piece of cake today, I'm not going to eat a piece of cake tomorrow. So I just try to, you know, just use my common sense.
That makes sense. Are you exercising on a regular? Because as I listen, as far as the eating properly, exercising, minimize your intake of alcohol, all those things can help. Would you say that you are one of those people that takes in know the importance of exercising?
I know the importance of it, but I'm not going to sit up here and tell y'all to exercise like I should because I don't. I don't drink. I never, you know, was the person to drink. I exercise sometimes, but not like I should. And I'm making an excuse right now. I'm woman enough to sit up here and say I'm making an excuse because I'm so busy. But we can find time to do whatever we want to do.
Yes.
I'm. My husband likes to do it early. You know, he likes to do it earlier in the day. I like to do it later in the day. But sometimes we come to common ground and then, you know, we do it. But I don't always do it like I should. And I will do better. I got to do better. Like, I'm not saying it to convince myself or to convince y'all. I know what I need to do because I know that that's making a wise decision to exercise because it's really good.
Yeah.
You know, you're not the only one that is in that boat. We are in that boat paddling right along with you because my sisters and I, we talk often about, you know, we need to go to the gym, we need to exercise, and we just talk. I
Mhm.
don't know. It's a lot of talk right there. The conversation is real good.
Mhm.
So definitely understand that. I know that your nonprofit is, and I'm at some point, I hope I'm not jumping the gun, Angela, but I know at some point we would love to hear about your nonprofit. And I know that you are absolutely busy, especially during this time of year with all the things that you're doing with breast cancer awareness. Could you tell us a little bit about, what you do pretty much on a day-to-day basis? Because a lot of people are just getting to know you. They're just being introduced to you, but they don't know how you are so hands-on, for lack of a better term, with, I don't want to call them breast cancer survivors, but I want to call them breast cancer warriors. You're so hands-on with that community. Could you kind of give us a little bit of an open eye view of exactly what you do with that?
Yes, ma'am. So every day, I'm on the phone with women that have been diagnosed. And I don't just talk to them, I talk to their family members. Most of the time, it's either a conference call or we either on the speakerphone. I help them prepare for surgery by questions, that they need to ask their doctors. I help them prepare for their appointments before they go to surgery. People who are undergoing chemo and radiation, just prepare and help them to formulate and ask and prepare questions to ask, their medical team. We pray together. If a lady becomes unemployed because of her diagnosis or because she's undergoing treatment, and if she needs help with her utility bills, with groceries, with transportation expenses to and from her appointments, we work out a plan to try to make sure that we help get, the bills paid, make sure she gets back and forth, to her appointments. Talk to children, because a lot of times the ladies don't know what to say to the kids, and the kids have questions and they don't always know how to answer those questions. So, that's when I come in and try to talk to the kids and give them a chance, because that's what I did with my own kids, when I got diagnosed, had them, write down the questions that you had. Um, and then I also, try to encourage people daily. I try to post as often as I can. I don't get to post every day. But in addition to me working with the ladies that I work with that have been diagnosed, everywhere I go, all throughout the day, it could be the grocery store, it could be a gas station. I always find a reason to share my testimony or to encourage somebody to get a mammogram, because I feel like that is my purpose. Because this testimony that I have, like you said early in the introduction, it's not for me. God blessed me with a second chance for me to be a blessing to others. I did it my way for the first 36 years. But the
Mhm.
next 36 plus 36 plus 36 plus 36,
Okay.
it's going to be about him and his will and his way. I'm not perfect. I still say those words, sometimes, the words we were just talking about. I said hell on here, but you know what?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
How important has your support system been for you, and how important is the support system for just people in general to help them to get through?
She froze. She's back.
Oh, she did. Did you hear the question, Shonda?
No, ma'am.
I
Did you
said
finish? Wait, did you finish what you were saying to
No,
us? Because you froze for a minute. Okay.
I was asking how important was and still is your support system, because you talk about your husband a lot, and I know he's retiree from the armed forces. Hats off to him about that, and especially with your kids. And how important is that support system for others as well? Did you find that it was such a big help for you getting through the process of everything that you went through?
it was very important. But the most important thing was my relationship with God first and myself. Because I could have my husband, I could have my kids, but if I wasn't where I needed to be mentally, emotionally, spiritually, psychologically, even though they were there for me, I still would have been a basket case. So I had to make sure that I was right. So it's important to have, a support system. And, I deal with people all the time that sometimes marriages don't always work out, relationships don't always work out. And I even had someone ask me, they said, well, how could you have your breast removed and you're married. You're not worried about your husband looking at other women. I said, let me tell you something. The cancer didn't affect my self-esteem. And as much as I love my husband, I refuse to allow him to affect my self-esteem. And if it's somebody else out there for him because of some breasts, the relationship, the marriage was never meant to be anyway, even though we were together all these years, as much as I love him. Because had he gone through something, I would be there for him as I would want him to be here for me, like how he is. But there's always that but. We have to love ourselves first. The problem is a lot of people can't deal with being alone. You know, so nobody don't want to be alone, but that's a lie, because I love being alone. I love my husband and I want to be with my husband. But if my husband has something going on, and even when he was deployed, I missed him and I wanted him to be with me, you know, but I didn't have a problem with me. And I think that's a lot that people have to understand, that, you know, it's good to want to have a spouse, and it's good to have a spouse, but we gotta find a way to love ourselves. I think that's very important.
It is very important. And you said a mouthful. You have to learn to love yourself, because though you have a support system, what happened in the middle of the night if you're not stable mentally, emotionally, if you don't have a relationship with God?
Okay, excuse me. I didn't have to learn to love myself. I love myself. I had to make, I'm saying to others who may not be, you know, where I was. So I've always loved myself, not being arrogant or being cocky, but I had to I had to make sure, okay, now you got this diagnosis and I know, you know, you're scared, but are you okay? Like, I had to have a talk with me, because I've always loved me. So I had to have a talk with me, not about loving myself, but are you really okay? Are you praying like you should? What do you need to do for you? See, because if I didn't know how to handle myself, how can I handle anybody else, even if they are there for me? So you have to have a relationship with yourself first to be able to appreciate others being there for you.
Yes, yeah, that is so true. Because when you have people around you, the close ones are the usually ones that get the abuse from your stress, your anger, or your resentment, or even just not being happy in the place that you're in. So you make so much sense with that. But I want to go back and say what you said when you were saying that you're there to help your organization help women. Not only do you help them with finance or getting the test, but I like the idea that you said you help them come up with the questions to ask the doctor. I have a friend girl at this moment that's going through breast cancer. So, what are some of the questions that we need to make sure we ask when we're going through this procedure or cancer battle?
So remember, you said you didn't know that it was just different types of breast cancer. You thought it was just breast cancer. Remember?
Your internet going in and out.
You all can hear me. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
So you remember in the beginning when you said, when I told you about the types of breast cancer I had, you said you didn't know it was types.
Right.
You thought it was just breast cancer. So that's a question. She needs to know what type of breast cancer, what stage, what grade, a treatment plan. And I always tell people that I deal with, when you get a breast cancer diagnosis, yeah, you have your surgical oncologist on your team, your medical oncologist, your primary care physician, psychiatrist or psychologist or therapist, and your pastor, or, you know, depending on what your religious preferences are, you know, that spiritual support. But you need to come up with a team that you can rely on. You don't need to have everybody around you because you have breast cancer, because everybody that's coming around you and in your space, they're not coming because they're concerned, like you asking, well, what types of questions should we ask? Some people are just looking for you to die because they want to just be messy, or they don't like you. Or I've had cases where people have said, you know, somebody's, you know, waiting for me to die because they want to get my husband. Or, you know, yeah, people are crazy and people say things and do things like that. But you know, that's mean, and that's evil, and God will deal with those types of people. And then the other questions would be, you know, do I need to have any other tests? Do I need to have a PET scan right away? Um, is this the primary cancer? What other cancers need to be checked? What other tests that I can take to check for other types of cancers? Family history, not just for the doctors, but then they need to make sure that they ask questions, or your friend asks questions on her maternal and paternal side, as far as um, what types of cancer was in the family that they know of.
Wow. Can I ask you, do you know by any chance how many number of different types of breast cancer is it?
Um, so you have DCIS, HER2. There, I know of four, and there are more, but the people that I've been dealing with, it's just been the four types of cancer. I will tell you this: go to the American Cancer Society's website. They are really reputable, and you can find a whole lot of information on the different types of cancer. So that's one of my go-to websites for information.
So we want to make sure you get support. We want to make sure that the followers and the viewers are able to donate. Tell us what you need, and if what you need, how can we get it to you, and your website that we can go to donate for you.
Okay, before I do that, I saw a question. I guess I'm looking at this thing right, and I want to make sure I answer it. Somebody said, what types of tests? Did I see something that somebody said about, yeah, what tests are needed?
Mm-hmm.
Um, so it depends on what type of cancer. So if there's a history of colon cancer, then you'll need a colonoscopy. If there's a breast cancer, you need the mammogram. Um, if you're hurting somewhere, you go to your doctor and say, should I have an MRI? Should I have an ultrasound? Should I have a PET scan? If you've already been diagnosed with cancer, a lot of times you'll get a PET scan and make sure there's no, the cancer didn't metastasize. So CT scan, ultrasound, MRI, and a mammogram. Those are different tests that you can take to detect certain types of cancer, but it just depends on what you're looking for. So it would be best for you to talk to your primary care doctor. And as far as support, right now we have so many people that we're trying to pay for help get mammograms. So our website is theboldandbreastless.com or www.boldandbreastless.com. We're taking donations. We're trying to help women who are unemployed right now because of, they've experienced cancer, have gone through cancer. Some are going through now. We're trying to assist them with groceries, with their utility bills. So right now we really do need donations.
Okay, so we're going to make sure we do that. You guys make sure you follow her, like her, comment, and please donate. We don't care how much you donate, because every little bit helps, and I'm sure
Exactly.
that she'll take whatever you guys are willing to give. And remember, it's not for her; it's for the organization. It's to help other women. With that being said, just hold on a little while longer. We want to talk about our event that we're having on December 3rd. So we're going to play this little clip, and we'll be right back.
Hey, what's up, world? It's me, your girl, Angela. Making sure you get your ticket for the next event. Catch your second win. That's right. Catch your second win. You do not want to miss this. This is going to be the event of the year. See you at True by Hilton in Fort Lauderdale. We have a guest speaker, Joan Wrightgood, a coach, a mentor, an entrepreneur. You want to meet her, as well as the awesome Apostle Sheila O'Brien. She's going to help you renew your mind. And we have one of the most powerful intercessor, Mary Lewis. Come out, you guys. You do not want to miss it again. We're going to be at True by Hilton in Fort Lauderdale. Can't wait to see you. Remember, in everything you do, always be true to you.
We're getting ready to go.
Hey,
Okay, so we are back. That was the Catch Your Second Wind conference that is coming up December 3rd. It is going to be such an awesome time with your host, the one and only um, Angela Lewis Warren is going to be the hostess for that particular conference. We're really, really excited for what the Lord has dropped in her spirit about that conference. The tickets are on sale. I'm not sure if she has limited seating or not, but you do not want to miss this particular conference that's coming up on December 3rd. There are some amazing speakers. I happen to be one of them that is going to be speaking at this conference along with a couple of other speakers. I believe my husband, Apostle Clive O'Brien, will be speaking as well. So you do not want to miss this conference. And we are back with Miss Shondia talking to us about her victory over breast cancer. I don't like to call people that have dealt with breast cancer, cancer period survivors, because they become victorious over that thing. And so she really has a victory and a story to tell. One of the viewers asked a question, and I want to go back to that question that she asked. And what she said was, what is the most dangerous stage of any cancer?
I don't want to, and I always tell people when you ask questions, I'm going to answer to the best of my ability. And I don't want anybody that's watching this who is dealing with cancer right now to start feeling some type of way when I answer this question, because we all have a different journey. And
Right.
just as good as we're born, we all are going to die one day. But please don't think because you have cancer, regardless of the stage, that something is going to happen to you, because you're not going to leave here. I'm not going to leave here. None of us are going to leave until God is ready for us to leave. Stage 4 is usually the stage that when a person, the cancer has metastasized, and it could be the end. But I know several women who've been diagnosed with stage 4, and they've had it for some 15 years, some 20 years.
Wow.
I didn't know them all this time, but I met them over the past few years, and in meeting them found out that they've had cancer all these many years, and it's stage 4, and they're still here. So again, everybody's journey is different. So if anybody's on here, don't even let that worry you. I just answered the question that you asked me. But again, it's all up to God, because He knows when He'll be ready for us.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That is so good. And thank you for saying that, because that is so true. I know we talked about your organization, Bold and Breastless. You're in the Port St. Lucie area, and I know that you would travel pretty much wherever your help is needed, but do you have a particular support group in any part of the Treasure Coast area that people could come to a meeting, or even on a Zoom or anything like that you can tell us about?
We do Zoom calls. We have events. I don't have a support group, and it's interesting that you asked me that. So I'm gonna have to pray on that some more, because I was just telling my husband, I was like, you know what? I wonder if I should do. But I was thinking, instead of doing a support group, because there are a lot of support groups out there, but I was thinking about doing a support meetup, like just doing different events. It could be a movie night, or
Yes, that's
a
good.
cookout. So just doing something a little different, but not yet, because like I said, we've just been so busy.
I think that's good, because a lot of times some people just stop living because they lose hope and they feel like cancer is a death sentence. And I remember you saying that somewhere, that was not your death sentence. I wanted to know, what is the youngest age that you know of someone having breast cancer?
15.
Really?
Wow.
15.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
so we don't have to, usually like you get tested when you're 40. So now you just really have to stay aware and teach your children about their bodies, huh?
Well, you have to. And, they have to start early, checking themselves, doing those self breast exams. Knowing family history is very important. And like for me, because I got diagnosed at 36, so the rule of thumb is because I got diagnosed under the age of 40, my baby girl has to get start getting mammograms 10 years prior to my diagnosis. So it would be 26 for her.
Wow. And do you find that a lot of teenagers are usually it's in the because I know someone who was diagnosed at the age of 22. So and then she was amazed that she because you feel like you're so young that you didn't have that problem. But to hear 15, that's really a shock. And I know it's not like impossible, but things happen, but it's really a shocker.
It is. And so my doctor, she thinks that it was because of the birth control pills. So
Mm.
I took birth control pills prior to, becoming a mother. And so that's something people need to be careful with, taking birth control pills, hormone pills, and going through menopause, leave those pills alone. If you do the birth control pills, try not to stay on them for a long period of time. Talk to your doctor just to discuss what's best for you as far as taking them, because I, that's what, because of the type of breast cancer that I had, that's why she seems to think that it was the birth control pills. And if you read the fine print, if you take birth control pills, it says it's one of the side effects or risks of taking it is you could get breast cancer.
Wow. I know I'm going through menopause, so I don't take any hormones or estrogen because I know that too can cause cancer. So I stay away from that. Yeah. So
And
um,
that's good.
Ask her question. Shondia, you mentioned earlier, I want to go back to when you talked about the different surgeries that you had, and you mentioned that you had a hysterectomy and another type of surgery. Was that a choice that you chose to make, to have the hysterectomy because of the possibility of getting cervical and uterine cancer?
Yes, ma'am. That was a choice that I made because of the type of breast cancer. Estrogen would have, caused cancer to grow, like if it was a recurrence, and because the cancer was ER and PR positive. So that's why I said in the other surgery, well, it was one surgery, but a second procedure. So the oophorectomy was removing my ovaries. So that was the other thing that I said. I wanted everything out. I knew I wasn't going to have any more children. So that's why I made the decision to go ahead and have the complete hysterectomy with the oophorectomy because of the chances of, me developing gynecological cancers because of the type of breast cancer I had.
Wow.
and so you really do have to know who you are because take it that you lost your breast, you had hysterectomy, you took away your ovaries, and most women feel like that's what make them a woman. That's what they relate to as far as being a woman.
Well, they
What would
said
you tell someone who say it again?
I said they're sadly mistaken because that is more to your womanhood and more to life. And I'm just gonna be real. I've heard people say, "Well, took your breasts off, and then you done had a hysterectomy, so now you can't have sex." And I said, "Well, my cootie cat ain't out. I still got that. So why I can't have sex? And ain't nothing wrong with it, and it ain't dry. It's good." And I'm just being real and being honest because some people don't
Yes.
want to be real and talk
Yeah.
because they're afraid. And somebody on this call might want to ask the question, but they don't know how to ask it. So I'm gonna just go ahead and put it on out there. Yeah, when my husband was deployed, there was a time when I was a little nervous because I had a little dryness, and I went to my doctor and I said, "Well, something's a little different," And she said, "Well, you're not having sex," and I was like, "Oh, okay." She said, "Remember we talked about when you have the hysterectomy, sometimes you can experience," and she said, "especially with you not being sexually active." So I was like, "Oh, okay." So she was like, what was the thing, KY jelly or something like that? She was like, "You'll be fine." So, and that's something we got to talk about. People got to get out of this old way of, "Oh, I can't say that, or they're going to think I'm crazy, or we can't talk about that." No, we need to talk about it because that's the problem. That's why people don't know what's going on with their bodies because they're afraid. I did not lose my sex drive. I did the hysterectomy, like I said, because of the type of breast cancer that I had. I do not regret it. There are no mood swings. I'm the same person I was. Every now and then I may have a hot flash, but I hear some people say they break out in sweats and they have to take the clothes off in the middle of the night.
I have to do that, and I haven't even had one. And I have to do that. So
So, but I mean, it's fine. And we got to stop listening to they and them sometimes. And like I said, like my grandma always said, use your common sense, because what somebody else may go through, you might not go through that.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And that is so true. And we're so, this is what's wrong with our generation, not even our generation, our people. We hide, we sweep things
Yeah.
under the rug, under the rug. We're so ashamed of things that's not even under in our control. But we
Mhm.
want to be ashamed of breast cancer. We want to be ashamed of any form of cancer. We want to be ashamed of everything we go through. And this is how the enemy beat us, because now he have us in a box and we can't ask questions, we can't express how we feel, and we feel like we're doomed. And this is why we sometimes end up accepting that death sentence.
Yeah. And people don't want to talk about it. They think it's just, so bad. And but I don't want to tell anybody I had a hysterectomy, because I've heard people say that. I don't want to tell anybody I had a hysterectomy because, they might think I can't please my husband. Well, who cares what people think? And
Mhm.
who needs to be in your business anyway? And
Mhm.
if you're telling people that you had it because you're trying to help people, like I'm saying why I had a hysterectomy. It's not like I go around telling people, oh, I had a hysterectomy, I had a hysterectomy. Yeah, I'll tell it. When I'm sharing my testimony, when I say, it's not like I'm going around telling, it's not like I pick up the phone and find somebody to call and say, girl, I had a hysterectomy. But in sharing in, cases like this and speaking engagements, yeah. And when I'm dealing with families and ladies who are going through breast cancer, yeah, I tell them, because I have nothing to be ashamed of. It's nothing to be ashamed of. And if you've had problems with your periods, heavy periods, fibroids, any of that, you really need to have a serious conversation with your gynecologist, because sometimes it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And it's nothing to be afraid of, because life goes on.
That is so true.
Mhm.
If you have anything to say to someone out here, someone is listening, they're battling with breast cancer, or they're afraid to go get tested because they feel like they felt a lump and they want to dismiss it. What would you look into the camera and tell them today?
So if you are afraid to go and get tested, think about the person that you love other than yourself, because I want you to love yourself. But if it's your child, your mother, your partner, your spouse, whomever it is, whatever your other reason for living every day and looking forward to being with somebody else, that special person in your life, if you care anything about yourself or anything about them, do yourself a favor and do them a favor and go get checked. Because if you wait, when you do go get checked, chances are it could be bad. You could get some news that you don't want to hear. So please go get checked. And then the other part of your question, did you say if somebody is going through right now?
Correct.
And if you're going through cancer right now, be positive in that you are still here to know that you're going through. You are still on this side. So you have a reason to be thankful that God thought you worthy enough to still be here. And you cannot get through your journey if you are in a dark place. You have to ask Him to give you the strength that you need to endure what you're going through in your journey. And even if things may not be looking the way that you want them to look, even if your doctors have given up on you, you don't give up. You don't give up until you can't wake up. As long as you can wake up, you keep
That's good.
fighting. But when you can't wake up, that's when you give up.
That's good.
And I
That's
hope that
good.
makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. Please tell the people how they can find you on social media,
Bold and Breastless.
Instagram
Bold
as
and
well.
Breastless on Facebook and Bold and Breastless on Instagram.
Okay.
And I have a Twitter account. I don't really use Twitter that much. It's Bold Breastless on Twitter, but primarily it's Instagram and Facebook, Bold and Breastless. And then my
Did I
website.
actually, how'd you come up with that name, Bold and Breastless?
So I knew it was going to have something to do with breastless, but I was trying to find something to go in front of the breastless. And I was talking to a family friend, and we were talking about names, and then they said bold. And I said, because they said, you bold, like you really are bold. And I was like, wow, bold and breastless. So
Yeah,
both
I
was
love
great.
the name.
I do too. It's really catchy.
It really
Thank
fits
you.
you.
It does. It fits you because you're not shy. You're not timid. Not that you come off any other way. You don't have a mean spirit or anything like that. But you stand in your truth as far as I'm okay. I don't have any breasts, but I still have my life. And you
Mhm.
share that with people. And I just think that's amazing. I'm so glad that my sister connected me with you. And like I said before, if I can help you in any way, if you need me anyway, I'm here. We're here. We're so glad for the connection. And thank you. Thank you for saying, okay, I'm gonna come because I know you're busy and you really had to carve out time to to be with here tonight. So
And
I
I
really
appreciate
appreciate
y'all
it.
so much. And look, like my husband said, them breasts might be gone, but I got a sexy booty back there now.
Look here and listen. That's what the men be looking for, booty and like you say,
And
you
then them
You got
legs.
some nice legs, Angela.
Yes, honey. He loved them legs and that booty.
okay. That makes a difference.
I have one
Apostle
more
She, do you
question
have
for you.
anything you want to say?
I have one more question for her, Angela. I know that you do speaking engagements. If someone wants to invite you to their church, their organization, can they get you on your website? Can they?
Or they can email me boldandbreastless@gmail.com. And yes,
Okay.
ma'am, there is a link on my website to my email address.
Okay.
My mom said you are beautiful.
Tell your mom I said hi.
She said, "Hi,
And
mom."
thank you.
Okay.
And she's
Thank you.
beautiful.
Any closing remark, Apostle?
No, thank you so much, Jess, for being the part. A lot of people don't know, but I'm just going to share this real quick. Shondia was, and her family was a very close friend, so much so that they called him Uncle John to our uncle, Congressman John Lewis. And during the time that he died, she and I connected because she actually reached out to me online to ask me about him and to share with us the connection that she and her husband had with him because of her uncle that I believe was at the time in Congress as well. And so God does all things well. He knows how to connect the dots. He knows how to bring people together for specific purposes. And the first time that she and I encountered each other, she knew that I had been going through some things in my body. She gave me a little care package with some stuff in there that just blessed my heart. So if anybody is really needing that kind of a support system and you don't have it, or you may need that extra push, reach out to her because I promise you she'll be there for you.
That brings up a question to me, Shandi. If somebody needed a care package, if somebody wanted to start care package, what would you suggest they put in it for someone like my friend?
So then it depends on, first of all, is she allergic to anything? If she's going to be staying at the hospital, if she's for like overnight for her surgery, like normally we'll put socks, we'll put a robe, a journal. If they believe, in God, we'll do a Bible, gift cards, pillows, snacks. So just, you have to tailor it to the things that she likes and things that that she might need.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay.
Good.
Okay, well, thank you for that. This is the last segment we're going to have on breast cancer awareness. You guys, make sure you follow our guests. You will not be disappointed. And if you need anything, please visit her website. And don't forget to do what's most important. Sharing is caring. So share her information, share her website, and don't forget to put your money where your mouth is. You say you want to make a difference. You say you want to help the awareness. So please go to her website and donate. She would be so appreciative. With that being said, November 19th, we're going to be in Atlanta for a pancreatic cancer bowling event for pancreatic cancer in honor of my uncle, Congressman John Lewis, as well as others. Not only that, I want you to remember December 3rd, 2022 at 10 to 2, we're going to have the Catch Your Second Win event. So make sure you get your ticket. Make sure you get your ticket. Did I say make sure you get your ticket? Yeah, make sure you get your ticket. Thank you guys for watching. I greatly appreciate it. Remember to share, like, and keep commenting. And stay tuned for every Monday at 7 p.m. But as of next month, we will be on Be True to You Talk Show page, not doing Life with Angela. We're doing it big, honey. We're going to Be True to You Talk Show on Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook. Why? Because God has called us to be here, and we're going to be here and do what God has called us to do. I love you in the meaning. Everything you do, always be true to you. Bye.
Thank y'all for having me.
Hey, what's up, world? It's me, your girl, Angela. Making sure you get your ticket for the next event. Catch your second win. That's right. Catch your second win. You do not want to miss this. This is going to be the event of the year. See you at True by Hilton in Fort Lauderdale. We have a guest speaker, Joan Wrightgood, a coach, a mentor, an entrepreneur. You want to meet her, as well as the awesome Apostle Sheila O'Brien. She's going to help you renew your mind. And we have one of the most powerful intercessor, Mary Lewis. Come out, you guys. You do not want to miss it again. We're going to be at True by Hilton in Fort Lauderdale. Can't wait to see you. Remember, in everything you do, always be true to you.